All right, it's Sunday, January 12th, 2025, and Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass are both on the chopping block, spending their day yesterday in reputation control. Newsom is putting together a so-called war room to defend his shattered reputation, realizing someone's got to take the fall for this. And make no mistake about it, people. This is solely the fault of Gavin Newsom's government. His ultra-progressive liberal policies have destroyed California. This isn't a talking point. This is a fact. The fire department has no water. Why? Because Gavin Newsom refuses to open the water mains. Almost every river in the state is still dammed. Donald Trump blasted Newsom last night over this. We're going to show you that, calling for his swift resignation and again promising the end of Newsom's reign in power after learning what Gavin Newsom spent his limited time on yesterday. And last night, was it helping the people of his state? Yeah, I don't think so. Wait until you see this. But before we get started, thank you for liking and sharing these videos. It really helps out the channel. And consider subscribing so you don't miss these regular updates. Also, make sure to stick around for the second half of the video. We're going to show you this project in Nevada that ties into Trump's plan to open up California over the next 4 years. So, look, it's been 6 days since Los Angeles erupted in flames, and the crisis is only escalating. And it could be about to blow, folks. The two largest fires, the Palisades fire, as of this morning, is only 11% contained. The Eaton fire, only 15% contained. Nearly 10 million people are now on alert for incoming fire devastation. Red flag warnings are in full effect for the next 4 days due to these 50 to 70 mile per hour Santa Ana winds. Realize the LAFD had a limited window of time to get these fires under control. The mayor and governor both knew about this. They were told, if you don't stop the fire now, it could get far worse. And they failed. Failed because of lack of manpower, resources, but most of all, a lack of water. They are running out of water in LA. The St. Ines Reservoir holds 117 million gallons of water, but was shut down in February. They are operating with 3 tanks. People, 3 tanks. Each tank holds 1 million gallons of water. The reservoir, which they're supposed to be utilizing, holds 117 million gallons. The reservoir, officials believe, was shut down 10 months ago, but it's still unclear. Nobody seems to know or have a definitive answer. They're guessing it was shut down in February. No one knows why the hell the reservoir is out of commission, how long it's been out of commission, or why nobody was hired to fix it. Meanwhile, the Pentagon, on Thursday, authorized 10 helicopters and 500 Marines to help fight these fires. Gavin Newsom has still not taken them up on the offer. What? Why not? Watch.
Ask you about those active duty military that you said stand ready to be deployed. Secretary Austin, the Pentagon authorized 10 helicopters, 500 Marines back on Thursday. How is it? My understanding is, as of now, correct me if I'm wrong, California hasn't made the request to use them yet. Why is that?
You know, I'd have to defer to the incident commanders, right?
I don't know. Maybe it's because Newsom and Karen Bass are too worried at the moment about their political futures. We're going to get to what Newsom spent his day on yesterday. Mayor Karen Bass is completely out of her depth, though. Everyone in LA is blaming her right now for what's happened. Newsom, too. But Karen Bass is where their anger is focused. She's the one who cut the LAFD budget by $17 million. She's the one who let the reservoir go dry. It's technically under her purview and didn't get it fixed. Let it stay unfixed for 10 months, apparently, since February 2024 when it's been offline. What the hell has she been doing? Here she was this morning posting this video on X. And listen real closely to what she says about rebuilding, folks. This is what's freaking a lot of people out. Roll the tape.
Angelinos, we're still going through it. And to any of you and all of you that have experienced a loss, the grief, the anger, the just utter shock. I've seen the devastation. It is unbelievable the amount of loss that people have experienced. But we have to get through this crisis, and I know that we will. I was at the Sylmar command post today, and I saw the work of our first responders and how they've been able to defeat the fires in certain areas. We know we still have much more to go, and we know the winds are going to kick up again. But we got to stick together. We got to stand strong. And then we have to rebuild our city. We're the nation's second largest city, one of the greatest cities in the world. And we stay together, and we will rebuild an amazing city. So thank you, Angelenos, and my thoughts and prayers are out to all of you that are going through unbelievable loss and pain today. We will get through this. Thank you.
Reports are going around yesterday that conversations are apparently happening with developers to change zoning around Pacific Palisades from R1, which is single-family zoning, to R3, apartment building zoning. Gavin Newsom came out and denied this, though, saying this is not true. Yet we see what they're doing in areas of Tennessee, stripping property insurance from these victims of Hurricane Allen because of the floodplain, not allowing them to rebuild after that disaster, which is despicable. Donald Trump blasted Newsom again on Truth Social yesterday, bringing up FEMA, making sure everyone knows who to blame. Writing first on Friday, saying, "This fire's been spreading rapidly for 3 days. Zero containment. Nobody has ever seen such failed numbers before. Gross incompetence by Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass, and Biden's FEMA has no money, all wasted on the green new scam. LA is a total wipeout." That was on Friday after Trump learned what a complete clown show he's going to be inheriting. Biden leaving the United States broke. FEMA completely out of money. Trump will be taking over the country with all of this chaos. Multiple crises unfolding. Some of this done purposely, folks, to make things as chaotic as possible for Donald Trump next week when he takes office. And if you think that sounds crazy, why then get this? Why, in the middle of these fires on Friday, while the fires were in full force, did Gavin Newsom call an emergency special session of his legislature? Not for helping the victims of this disaster. He called the special session on how to combat Donald Trump. You can't make this up. Watch.
I could take a couple of questions. I do have to jump on a call here in a few minutes.
With that, I mean, with what you just mentioned and kicked off here, is now the right time to have a special legislative session on allocating money to fight Trump in a way that you could already do without a special legislative session?
So I'm here to address these wildfires. This is a historic wildfire. This is a historic event. These wildfires, as I mentioned, are going to be quite possibly some of the worst wildfires and disasters in state and in natural history.
While this wildfire is happening, and while people are trying to understand what's going on and are worried about disaster relief, worried about the ability to get homeowners insurance, your chamber gavelled into a special legislative session to prepare for Donald Trump in a way that you are already able to do without a special legislative session. So again, is now the right time for that?
So certainly our focus right now is Speaker Ashley. At this moment, my colleagues and I, we are acting with great urgency to ensure that we're providing much needed relief to Angelenos, to ensure that we understand what it's going to take for this region to recover.
Trump knows what's going on, and he's calling it out. He smells blood in the water and knows the best way to solve California's problems is by removing Newsom from the equation. Yesterday, he doubled down, giving the governor the solution, handing him the solution, saying this: Donald Trump, Governor Gavin Newsom should immediately go to Northern California and open up the water mains. Let the water flow into his dry, starving, burning state instead of having it go out into the Pacific Ocean. It ought to be done right now. No more excuses from this incompetent governor. It's already far too late. We've been reporting on this for months. California will be the epicenter of a domestic battle that's coming. Trump wants to open California up, folks, and solve a lot of these problems. He tried to do it during his first term in 2020. Trump signed the Water Restoration Declaration Act to open the century-old dams in California, let the water start flowing. Since California dammed these rivers a century ago, wildfires have always been a problem, but nothing at all like this. In 1990, 365 acres burned across the state of California. In 2020, 4.3 million acres burned across the state. That's over 4% of the entire landmass of California burned just that 1 year alone. So, what changed in California over the last 25 years? One thing: permanent Democrat control. Uber progressive policies that have led to the most dysfunctional, poorly managed state in the country. If the rivers were allowed to flow naturally, or at least somewhat naturally, the humidity would rise, the reservoirs would be full. Firefighters wouldn't be running out of water. Oregon doesn't dam all their rivers. Washington does it, but California does. And over the years, Democrats were able to redirect blame by saying just 2 words. That's all they had to say. Climate change. And that completely would redirect everyone's questions. They just blamed it on that, and everyone would just take them at face value. They've been able to gaslight the public instead of the fact that their policies are directly to blame. Well, not anymore. People have woken up to the sheer incompetence of this government, and it is freaking them out. Karen Bass, I'd be shocked if she doesn't resign in the coming weeks. Gavin Newsom, also on the chopping block. Newsom spent all day yesterday with political advisors, his campaign team, setting up a makeshift war room to stop the bleeding. His popular support cratered this week. So look, he spent all day yesterday doing these far-left podcasts, trying to rehabilitate his image. Watch some of this.
I want to know the answers. So I'm the governor of California. I want to know the answer. I've got that question. I can't tell you about how many people, what happened. My own team saying what happened. And I want to get the answers. And I'll be candid with you, I wasn't getting straight answers.
Yeah.
I watched the press conference. I met with some of those leaders. We had my team start talking to local leaders, saying what's going on. Our state.
And you weren't getting straight answers from
I was getting
leaders.
different answers. When you start getting different answers, then I'm not getting the actual story. And they're assessing it. And I get that as well. You have to a little bit of grace, back to the point.
And last night, Newsom announces on X that he worked tirelessly yesterday trying to figure out the best way to battle misinformation that's hurting his public support. Writing on X last night, Gavin Newsom. A lot of misinformation out there. Just launched a new website today to ensure the public has access to fact-based data around the Southern California wildfires. While the largest city in your state is burning to the ground, you're spending your time all day yesterday building a website to counter your critics? What a complete joke. Everyone's turning against him right now. Even liberal media outlets have turned on him. The LA Times, the SF Chronicle, and the San Francisco Chronicle blaming Karen Bass and Gavin Newsom. Daily Mail predicting this could be the end for Gavin Newsom. Look, they are in survival mode right now. He knows it. Newsom knows this could be the end of his political career. I used to think he would likely be a presidential candidate in 2028, but I don't see how he could ever come back from this. The only way would be to throw Karen Bass under the bus. Use her as like a sacrificial lamb, if you will. And that's exactly what I believe is going to happen. All right, that wraps up the news portion of this episode. I want to show you why the same company that owns a copper, silver, gold project in the state of Nevada is 93% cheaper than they were in 2021, even after hitting its best ever drill intercepts in September. On November 15th, a major bill passed the House of Representatives. It's called the Critical Mineral Consistency Act, and it's going to the Senate next. Critical minerals are essential for our economy. The United States must ensure access to a reliable supply. That's from Arizona Congressman Juan Ciscomani, the sponsor of this legislation, explaining that the goal is to fortify commodities logistics domestically, including copper, electrical steel, silicon, and silicon carbide, which are on the critical minerals list. The legislation specifically ensures copper mine projects are eligible for the FAST-41 permitting process. Giant Mining owns a copper project in the world's #1 mining jurisdiction, Nevada, situated in the good old US of A. In the past 4 years, while the share price cratered by 93%, management and the company's geologists have actually expanded the copper deposit. And this past September, get this, Giant Mining hit their best ever drill hole. So why are they down 93%? Explain it. I can't find a reason. BHP Billiton and Rio Tinto, 2 of the largest copper producers in the world, are warning that copper supply cannot possibly meet the future demand from AI and the construction renaissance that's about to happen in the US and China. Meanwhile, the share price of Giant Mining, whose flagship copper, silver, gold project in Nevada, called Majuba Hill, has depreciated from $4.20 US on January 13, 2023, to only 16 cents today. The entire company at the moment is worth $7.3 million, compared with its 2021 peak market cap of $100 million. It's crazy. In September 2024, the company hit its best drill intercept ever. Historic underground mines at the Majuba Hill project produced copper, tin, silver from the early 1900s to the 1950s, including 2.8 million pounds of copper, 184,000 ounces of silver, 5,800 ounces of gold, and 21,000 pounds of tin. I'll say this about it. All of these factors, and the following ones below, are the ones that led to my significant bullish opinion about giant mining. The infrastructure, get this, access roads already in place, power supply already in place, transportation, water supply, stockpiles already in place, processing space, processing plant. When you look at this, ask yourself one question. At 93% below its all-time high, with a market cap currently valued at $7.3 million compared with a $100 million valuation a couple of years ago, plus with legislation that puts copper top of mind, and with an asset in Nevada, is giant mining worth conducting due diligence on? Absolutely, in my opinion. The dollar is stronger today than at any other point except for in 1985. The US dollar has embarked on one of the most ferocious bull rallies for the reserve currency in the fiat monetary currency era. And preliminary discussions within the Trump team show they want to bring back the United States. We know this. So, with 1 week to go until Trump's inauguration, the notion that after 8 years of Obama and 4 years of Biden, the policies that made it difficult to permit and mine in the U.S. won't be relaxed is out of touch in my view. Therefore, when I combine the following pro-business administration, new minerals, legislation to include as critical the looming supply shortage, and the fact that giant mining's share price is down by 93%, I am ultra bullish. So look, what I'll do is I'll put a link to their website in the description. Make sure to do your own due diligence. I'm just providing some of the information about the company, the market, and the coming few years of the Trump admin of the Trump administration, in my opinion. All right, that wraps up this episode. Like, subscribe. We'll see you next time.